And there we go. End of the day. What a long day that was. It's getting there. We also had to get a chicken coop ready for, 70 chickens and turkeys coming. But here we go. I will be sharing more emails in 1 minute. But that's what happened today. Got that mess of crap out of there and cleaned up. Thank God. 1 minute. Whoo-wee. What was that for a day? Hey? You had a big day too, didn't you? You believe just the scent in here how it's changed, getting all that disgusting crap out of here. But anyway, we're working our butts off. We're in the back of the house. And all of a sudden somebody was honking way up the end of the driveway on the gravel road there. One was freaking out saying their horses were way down the road. Jailbreak. Full-on horsey jailbreak. Mom's in the lead. So grab the lead rope. She always has her halter on because I only have to catch her because he will not go anywhere without her. Jumped in the quad, took off down the road, and there's an old mill way down the road, and they were just heading down the mill with a forklift behind them. So I caught him first, and I tied the rope around his neck, and I got the guy in the forklift operator to hold on to him, and then she stopped running, and I walked up there, caught her, and I got him home. But anyway, they're loving their new area here so far. A lot of work got done. It's not as much as I was hoping, as usual, but you know that works, right? Anyway, in the meantime, I'm getting more of these emails done. There's far too many coming in, and a lot of people waiting to be heard, experience that relief that so many other people are getting to experience. So, what do we have? Getting there. All right. Red River Gorge. Mark is red. Hello, Steve. I forwarded you the circumstances my buddy and his neighbors were experiencing in rural southern Indiana a while back. I had asked him to write it down so I could forward it to you. It's the one you read after you made the big bonfire to sleep the night beside. Regarding missing livestock, screams, and large creatures busting through the brush. At that point in your story sharing, I didn't think the experience I had in the early 90s was a Sabe people encounter. However, not long after you read my friend's account, you began sharing stories of folks being in the woods and having bad vibes, a sense of dread, etc., and connecting these with possible Sabe people. Over the last 8 months, I thought, one day I may share that with Steve. But by then, your channel had really blew up, and I thought, I'll wait until things settle down. Then a couple nights ago, you shared on an experience that someone had in the Red River Gorge in Kentucky. My heart began pounding, mouth dry. And just like that, I was back in the gorge. When you finished, you looked at the camera and said, Red River Gorge, Kentucky, people. Help this guy out if you have something to share. All right. I sat back in the chair and I thought to myself, if you're waiting for an invite, Gary, I'd say, there it is. So I resolved to share per your request. In the late 80s, early 90s, I was a trout bum, for lack of a better word, and spent every weekend back in the hills and hollers of Appalachia chasing trout. Many a night spent by a stream miles from the nearest road. I was never scared, worried, or had anything happen out of the ordinary. Back in the late summer of 92 or 93, I was on a day trip to fish my favorite small stream in the gorge. A small brook trout stream, and in that few know about. No internet back then, LOL. I'd fished it, caught and released a couple of small trout, and decided to call it a day. When I got the rod put back at the truck, I decided I wanted to see Swift Camp Creek and its rock bridge. There are many stone arches in the gorge, but this one is the only one that crosses a creek, making it a very popular trail and destination. I drove to the trailhead, grabbed my day pack with my revolver, water, snacks, etc., and began to hike to see the rock bridge. I'd gotten a mile in or so, enjoying the day, when I noticed the absence of sound. Nothing. No birds, insects, etc. I also noticed the air felt closed in. It's hard to explain. My heart began to flutter. I thought to myself, what the F? You've stayed in the backcountry for years, and now you're getting a panic attack on one of the most popular trails in the gorge. Get a grip. But it got worse. Now we say, turn back when something like that happens, but back then I didn't know what was happening. I thought I'd scared myself into this, so I stopped, listened, no sound. A sense that I was gonna die right then and there. I kept going forward, thinking someone may be at the rock bridge. Feeling a dread followed me. I sped up, feeling foolish and like a scared little child all at the same time. Up ahead I could see the creek and the rock bridge. And then, just like that, the sounds returned. The birds, cicadas, etc. The woods also quit looking as if I was looking at them through my astigmatism without any glasses on. And that's the best way to describe how the woods looked. There was like a clear veil over the woods that made everything look out of sorts. Not fuzzy, but out of sorts. Hard to explain. I hiked back the way it came without incident, albeit faster than earlier, LOL. I shared the story over the years. Some folks get it. Some folks just said I spooked myself. I don't know what happened, but I do know it wasn't me that made it happen. I just happened to be there. So there it is, Steve. To the person who had their experience at the Red River Gorge in Kentucky, you're not alone. I've told this as true as I remember. I've told this as true as I remember it. The Red River Gorge, Swift Camp Creek Trail, late summer 92 or 93. You may use my name. Thank you for this outlet, and God bless you and yours. I've been following your channel since you first shared and appreciated what you've done for the people. Sincerely, Gary. Gary, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that you went out of your way to sit down and take that time to type that out to share with the people. I'll bet you somebody else from that same zone is listening and has had something strange happen as well. So considering how popular of a zone it is, I gotta mark this one as red. I was just gonna read this one. 1 second, you guys. And one thought on the dread, the terror, I'm gonna die right now. When you sit back and think common sense and how, like I've said before numerous times, how successful predators work, how they act, I got a funny feeling that warning isn't from a being that is going to kill you. I think that's just somebody who has that skill using it to their advantage to get you the hell out of there. And they have no intention of killing you. That's what I think. Because this has happened far too many times and nobody was injured. People have been scared. They end up seeing the damn thing as well sometimes. But nobody... We've had far too many people have shared a feeling of dread, terror, I'm gonna die, get the hell out of here, and nothing happened to them. Right? So now after hearing that many incidents of that, I am starting to think that that is actually a skill, being able to impose that feeling on a human being. I think that is actually a skill, and I think it's being used just to create privacy. That's what I'm starting to lean to myself, because like we all know, especially hunters know, successful predators don't warn you. They don't let you know you're about to get whacked. They're just gonna kill your ass. There's nothing you can do about it. Anyways, that's where I'm starting to lean. That's where I am slowly being convinced that it is just a skill and I'm using it to clear the way and maintain the privacy. That's what I think. But I guess it's gonna take somebody with a huge set to possibly flip the double birds up and say, F you, I'm not going anywhere, come on out, because I'm not going anywhere. Who would be able to do that with that level of terror, right? Not too many, I don't think. I don't think anybody can yet. I mean, anybody we've heard from has done that yet. One thing leads to another is the title of this email. Hi Steve, thanks for the work you do here, and keep up the good work. I've shared on here before, and you and I have conversed by email on a few occasions, and I'm sending you a report I just took this Sunday from my neck of the woods, the Bridgewater Triangle in Massachusetts. What makes this report different is that it came from a referral of a paranormal/poltergeist case where a 14-year-old girl with a development issue caused by epilepsy has been being targeted/tormented by something to the point of having been put in hospital for evaluation, which showed that this was not, and I repeat not, a mental health issue as validated by professionals in the medical field. This is why the family contacted me, as I have 3 decades worth of experience looking into all the unexplained, and asked me to help. In the course of interviewing the family, I normally ask about any and all unexplained experiences that have occurred in their lifetime. Parents of this girl reported to me that the daughter only started being tormented after the parents came back from a fishing trip to Lake Nippanicket in Bridgewater, Massachusetts 3 months ago. Here's what they reported to me. They were fishing in a small boat near the shoreline of the lake, and near sundown, they then had what they described as boulders or large rocks, about 20 to 30 pounds size, being lobbed at them from inside the wood line and crashing near the boat. They heard noises coming from the area of the rocks. They started to paddle/row the small boat back to the ramp area to leave. They could hear something paralleling them along the shoreline, as they did with the occasional noises as they went. It should be noted that this body of water has a long history of hairy man encounters going back centuries, being haunted as well by native tribes that once lived on the lake. The area was also part of a battle site in what was known in pre-colonial times as King Philip's War between the tribes and the settlers. The lake is 20 miles outside of Boston and is part of a nature preserve. A week or so after this encounter, while looking out the second floor of the tenement they live in that is 25 miles from this lake, the mother noticed a small black cloud-like vapor come over her fence and head into what you think was the basement. A day later, she and her husband saw a dark figure standing in the doorway of the bedroom looking in from the hallway. It would follow the mother to the shower on a few occasions. The young girl started to complain about a little 5-year-old girl named Susan who was talking to her at night and told her that she wanted her to hurt the people in the house, and particularly the men in the house. Grandparents live on first floor. The young girl began to sleepwalk and had been found by police in her PJs and slippers clutching a stuffed animal miles away from the house in the dead of the night on a couple of occasions, which prompted the evaluation. Now, I'm not saying that the encounter at the lake is a direct result, but I include this to you in hopes that it may help others understand that the unexplained can participate and have someone have a bit more of a heightened awareness of the thing going on around them. I've had UFO cases that the observer then have a Bigfoot encounter, and ghost cases where they see a UFO and many other types of iterations. What tells me is that everything is related, but be it because they're a part of the same thing, or we just become more aware of our surroundings and key in on the out of the norm now it has been experienced. Only time and more attention will tell. Again, thanks for all you do and your sharing other folks' stories, and I will keep you in the loop as the case develops. Note, the parents did take a picture of this smoke thing behind the little girl that I can send on to you if you care. So long from the Bridgewater Triangle, Matt Moniz. Wow, Matt. That's crazy. Keep digging. Keep digging. My heart goes out to that poor little girl. I hope she doesn't get tormented any longer. It's not fair. Why pick on someone who can't defend themselves and at the mercy of being taken care of for life, right? It's not fair. Crazy. I'm about ready to fall over. I gotta go and get some dinner, but I'm gonna get a couple more out because I gotta get up in the morning, get out here and hit the coast and start doing the 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning get-ups. Tall man in Florida. Hey Steve, found your channel. What a breath of fresh air. Stopped mainstream TV about a year ago. Total BS. No cable, no antenna, just the internet from now on. I don't expect this event to see the light of day. That'll be a horse and a shovel. But, for your information, a half century ago my co-worker and I were out late at night flushing fire hydrants for a utility company. It was in Palm Bay, Florida, miles away from the nearest highway, home, power pole, etc. Driving down this desolate road, a movement by a tree more than 100 yards away caught my attention, thinking it might be a homeless hippie or some extremely tall freak of some sort. Slammed on the brakes. Almost simultaneously, my coworker and I blurted out, "What the hell is that?" We watched for a few seconds trying to wrap our heads around this thing. It was way taller than any upright thing I've ever seen. It looked scraggly, brownish in color, shoulder-length hair with a beard, other hair and long arms. It was just barely half exposed beside a pine tree. In a flash, it darted across the road with a quickness not unlike a broad jumper. It was out of sight in instants. With great reluctance from my coworker, I drove down to where it crossed, high beams blaring, curved to shine the lights through about a 120-degree arc, trying to get another glimpse. It was gone. The area is 20 to 30-year-old, widely spaced pines with low palmetto bushes, and could clearly see a great distance. How it crossed the 50-foot opening, then disappearing so quickly, was baffling. We were both disturbed and shaken by the experience, and it goes without saying, as we tried to tell the people about it, they had raised eyebrows and thought we were full of it. Don't recall mentioning it again until I was in my 70s and got the same "you crazy" response. That'll do it for now. Oh, and thanks for your honest approach on the subject. The world needs more people like you. Actually, thank you very much, Robert. That the world needs way more people like you. I love hearing from the people who've had more time on this planet share their knowledge and their wisdom. I'm pretty certain that people are losing the fear to speak finally, and it's all because of the people, right? It's all because of how many people have become brave. They know it's painless. They finally found this safe place where they know it's going to be shared word for word and treated with respect and acceptance, right? And support. Let's get another one out before I go sit down. So once I sit down, I'm not getting up. Southern Illinois bike trail encounter. All right, mark it as red. Steve, first off, I think your YouTube channel is great. I'm writing about a possible encounter on a Southern Illinois bike trail. I don't consider Southern Illinois to be a place to find Bigfoot, so I'll tell you my story to see what you think. I used to be a runner, but my knees got so bad I had to stop running. I started gaining weight, so I had to find an alternative. I went with bicycling. Anyway, it was the fall of 2016 or 17. I decided to ride over 100 miles in one day to this place I picked, the Tunnel Hill Bike Trail in Southern Illinois. It stretches from El Dorado to the Cache River, a swampy area near Karnak 3. It's about 55 miles long, so I was going to ride the wetland center of Karnak and back to El Dorado, giving me a 110-mile ride. Anyway, I got to about the 49th mile mark in a very swampy, woolly area, and I got a horrible smell. It smelled like the cross between rotting sewer and wet dog. Very bad. I didn't want to stop because I had the gut feeling something was there. So I made a mental note of the location and pushed on to the end of the trail, about a 30-minute ride. By the time I got back to my spot, there was no bad odor or whatsoever. I know in my heart that something was there, but I didn't see or hear anything. What do you think? I think your intuition's correct. That's all I can say. If your gut instincts, your intuition told you that, then it is correct. That's all I can say, man. Thanks for sharing that. And keep your eyes peeled and go with your gut instincts at all times, all right? It'll make your life a lot more enjoyable. Trust me. Crazy things going on. Sent from my iPhone. Father's Day 2021. Me and my husband was sitting out in our yard when all of a sudden we hear this blood-curdling scream coming from our far end of the property, which is thick with woods. It wasn't dark yet. Everything was still. No wind, no birds were chirping. We shrugged it off until we heard it again. By now we're looking at each other like, are we hearing this? It screamed again, very loud. The best I can describe it is like one of the heavy metal singers screaming, but it was of animal and human sounding. Did it 3 times. My husband has hunted all his life, and he said to me he hasn't heard anything like that before. Wasn't any animal he had ever heard. Ever since then, we have had weird things going on. My dog one day took him out on a leash, and he was on smell overload, just like someone had a stake down in the woods, but his hair was standing up. He was going crazy. If he hadn't been on a leash, he'd have been gone. Finally got him under control, put him back in the house, and we hear 3 knocks on a tree. Then we hear the screaming again, but further away from the last time. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm being watched every time I go out because we have woods all around our house. We live in Mitchell County, North Carolina, close to Rome Mountain and the Appalachian Trail. My name is Stephanie Kennedy. I watch you on YouTube. Everyone I've told has not laughed at me. They actually believe me because they saw it. They say, how can you make that up? I just want to put my story out there. Thank you for what you do, and I have more to tell. But that'll be later. All right, Stephanie. Appreciate it. And like I tell everybody else, you should probably do it in the same email if you got more to share, okay? Because there's so many people in line, it is ridiculous. But thanks again. Obviously these things are around, and if I were you, they'd let you know they're there intentionally. So just say out loud, leave me alone. I'm not into you. Leave me alone. You know why I'm here, I know you're here, just leave me alone, right? It's like these two are liking this new space, aren't they? Steve, I've been a Christian since '78. For 5 years before that, I studied metaphysics, or the occult. Ooh. You know, it's funny, I've got no interest in that shit at all. You know what I mean? I just don't. Never have, never will. I don't even like movies that are themed with it. Just kind of creeps me out. From 1978, I was considered to be the best card reader in Las Vegas when I lived there. I'm from Eastern PA, near Manhattan. I'd researched astrology, performed astral projection, and hypnotherapy for a photographic memory, etc. Deuteronomy 8:9-14 tells of even though we are capable of performing all the things listed there, we aren't to perform them because they're occult practices. Keep this in mind as you read these accounts. When I was still in the occult practices, I was participating in a sea of tranquility, medium-led group, and many Roman Catholics that were void of real knowledge of Christianity were duped into the falsehoods spread by the fallen angel that led the trance medium that ran the class. It is obvious that they were lying because the logic was incongruous. I don't know what's happening with the Sabbath being and whether they are fallen angels being corralled by true godly angels or what, but interactions based on that lack of understanding is not a good thing. I find it interesting that I have 26 acres in the foothills of the Pocono Mountains with sightings near me, but I've never seen a Sabbath. I have no doubt they exist, but you have many accounts of people that proclaim the name of Jesus and get an immediate response. I'm a Christian and haven't seen any here either. Often that I've known since '78 that left the roots in the occult to become a Christian has stated the authority of Jesus' name by a believer over spirits. Just be aware of that. Jesus was teaching that God is a supernatural being and not just earthly. Okay, man. George, appreciate the time you took to share that with everyone. I've been in the Poconos, actually. I actually went to that small ski hill that's not too far from there. I say ski hill because I'll tell you what, when you live near the Rocky Mountains or the coastal mountains of BC, it's a little different. But you come across some more knowledge, George, that you feel that people benefit from, make sure you share it with us, all right? Make sure you share it. Okay. I don't know how long I've been doing this, but I'll go one more here. And I gotta get going. Scratch the crap out of them. Military and Bigfoot. Steve, to my knowledge, there have been 5 killed on military bases. There is no explanation to what these things are when the feds show up. Just the normal keep your mouth shut briefing. And the threats of military legal action, as I stated in a previous post. In the mid-90s, we had a huge one around the back end of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and Big Rock, Tennessee. It was massive body structure and at least 10 to 12 feet tall. It had been seen as well as others coming up from the Land of Lakes area. Fort Campbell was, I guess, part of its range. I do have more information that I will pass along to you in my next email. Please bear with me. Thank you for everything you do, sincerely. I'll leave out your name just for the hell of it, considering the topic you just brought up, all right, man? And then absolutely looking forward to you sharing more on that note for certain, all right? Whatever you got, share it here and get it to us. We want to know. We want to know. All right, let's do another one. These horses don't want me to leave, I know that. Marked as red. 1965 Sabbath in Southern California. Hello, Steve. This isn't my encounter, but my mother's. because of the strange location and physical contact with one of these beings I wanted to share with the people. I've changed the names because while I have my mom's permission to share her story, she doesn't want her name on the internet. Her story took place in the summer of '65 near the Southgate Linwood border in Southern California, a suburb of Los Angeles County. It was around dusk. My mom, 12, her sister Sarah, see that? Just knocked my knee up from underneath me, little bugger. It was around dusk. My mom, 12, her sister Sarah, 16, and sister's boyfriend Jim, 21, were taking groceries up to their apartment when they heard a weird snarling sound. My mom turned back to look and saw a big hairy giant peeking over a 6-foot brick wall, hands resting on top. It was covered in brownish red hair and had a human-like face, but this thing had to be 7 to 8 feet tall. She screamed when she saw it. It froze for a moment, shocked, like it didn't think they could see it, then ran away. Jim dropped the groceries, ran downstairs, and jumped over the wall, chasing after it. He was gone about 10 minutes. When he got back, he was covered in sweat and out of breath. He had 3 to 4 small scratches on his side/rib cage. They took him into the apartment, sat him on the couch, and he passed out. They said he seemed groggy and really out of it, like he was drugged. Then the scratches on his side grew and stretched about halfway across his stomach. Not breaking the skin, no blood, but visible scratches. When he finally came to, Jim said that he caught up to it and tried to grab its side, but it turned facing him, using one arm and swiped at him, knocking him back a few feet to the ground, and it ran away. He said he didn't know what it was, but it was big and fast. When their mom got home, they told her the story. She believed them, but asked if they had called the police. They said no, to which my grandma replied, "Good, don't tell them. It would only make you look stupid." They only lived in that apartment about 4 more months and never had another encounter. My mom said back then no one had heard of Bigfoot and they had no idea what it was they saw. I've told her about your channel and shared stories with her. She now knows what it was. Well, that's it. That's her story. Hope they can help someone or bring in more stories from that area. Anyway, thanks for all you do, and remember, for every vocal hater, there are hundreds who agree with and support you. F the I-Karens. You know where the good army, you know where the good guy army is. It's on the other side of your camera lens. Stay safe, brother. P.S. I tried to keep as short as I could without leaving out the details. You did great. I'm super, super glad that you shared that. I'm super glad for her. I'm super glad for everybody involved in it. I wonder if that guy's still alive. I wonder if that guy's still around that has a scratch on his side. What a frickin' amazing experience that must have been. Right? But anyway, that's it. All for this evening. Oh, here comes my deer. Maybe I'll zoom the camera in and show you what the horse is zoomed in on, and then I'll go. How's that sound? No shortage of deer around here, I'll tell you what.